Mm. And then I just wanted to take a minute because Mary and Tammy, we don't know each other yet, but I'm Lorraine Whittemore, and I'm the person who's kind of been trying to organize solo traveler groups on Meetup and on Facebook. A lot of people are on both places. And I am a travel agent, but the reason I got into the solo traveler is because I kept going to shows and meeting new clients, and constantly people would say, I really want to go here, but I don't have anyone to go with, or I really want to go here, but I'm a solo traveler, or my husband won't travel, or my boyfriend hates to travel, or my girlfriend hates to travel. And I constantly hear that. So I thought, I'm going to just start a club and see if I can offer some travel to people who, need to travel solo for whatever reason, but don't want to just go completely on their own. And so we started the group a few years ago. About 10 of us went on the first trip to Africa on a safari. And then we just started more trips. So we've done Iceland. I have a group that goes to England to do garden club, garden stuff every year. We have several more. And I usually do, if you haven't already voted on it, I usually do post a poll asking people where they want to go. And Patagonia was one of the top 5. And so whenever the top 5 happens, I try to organize trips there, and I try really hard to keep them local and use local suppliers, just to reduce the middleman and keep expenses down, but also, in the interest of sustainable travel, to try to bring more money into the areas that we're trying to visit. And I think you just get a better trip when it's local. So that's a little brief bit of information about me and the group. And I want to introduce Micah. She's with Latin Inspirations, which is a local supplier. And you can probably explain a little bit more, Micah, but she basically pulls together a variety of vendors and suppliers in the area to build custom trips. And so she built this trip for us based on, different pieces of information I gave her and her own expertise and suggestions. So, I think it'll be a fabulous trip because it's got that, loving care of customization that really makes a big difference. So I'm going to turn that over to you now, Micah, and let you tell us about Patagonia.
First I just want to mention that my name is Micah. I've been helping Lorraine to organize this trip. I'm originally, as you might hear, I'm originally from Germany, so please don't mind my accent. But I've been living in Chile for 12 years now. I'm completely in love with that area, and I'm kind of a Patagonia expert because I've been working with the area a long time, and we have created this trip, including a lot of highlights, 2 countries, and now I'm going to tell you a bit of general information about this trip, and then go through the itinerary day by day. And then if there's still some questions that remain open, you can ask at the end. So first of all, a map of the area you're going to visit. What's not on this map is Buenos Aires, because in addition to Patagonia, you're also going to spend a night in Buenos Aires, but it was just too long if I would also add Buenos Aires to this map. So you're going to start a bit further in the north, because you fly in to Buenos Aires and spend the night there. And after that, you fly down to El Calafate, which is on the Argentinian side of Patagonia. Stay some time there, and then travel to El Chalten, which is a small village in national park called Los Glaciares, the Glaciers National Park. You do some hiking, and at Chalten you have also the famous Fitzroy Mountain. I guess some of you have heard about that mountain. If not, you're going to see some picture of it in a bit. And then you travel back to Calafate, cross the border to Puerto Natales, which is on the Chilean side of Patagonia. visit Torres del Paine National Park, which is like the most beautiful area of Chile and Patagonia. And from there, you travel further down to Punta Arenas, which is still in Chile, to go back to Argentina again, to the very south Ushuaia, the city at the end of the world, which is your last stop. And from there, you fly back to Buenos Aires and back home. So this just as a start to give you a short overview. Some of the highlights that this trip includes, so in addition to to Patagonia, you will visit Buenos Aires, which is one of the most beautiful cities in South America. You will visit, as I mentioned, Chilean and Argentinian Patagonia. Sorry. Which is pretty nice because there's always like some kind of competition, which is the more beautiful side, the Chilean one or the Argentinian one. So you don't have to decide, you are going to see both. You're going to do some hikes, nature walks. So this is a semi-active trip. It's not hiking all the time, but there are a couple of medium difficulty hikes included, and one longer hike to see the Fitzroy Mountain. Then you're going to visit the famous Perito Moreno Glacier, which is a glacier in Argentina, close to Calafate, which is one of the most amazing, most impressive glaciers of Patagonia. You're going to see Mount Fitzroy. This is the mountain I've been talking about at the beginning. It's one of the most amazing peaks in the Argentinian side of Patagonia. And you're going to see Torres del Paine National Park, which is similar to the Argentinian side, but you have much more animals. So this is why it's better to visit both the Argentinian as well as the Chilean part. And in addition, this is something very unique because not a lot of trips included. You're going to have also a cultural element because you're going to spend a day at a estancia, which is called, which is like a ranch, a Patagonian ranch. You're going to see how the sheep shearing works, and you're going to learn a bit about Patagonian culture. And finally, you're going to visit Ushuaia, the city at the end of the world. This is one of the most, the southernmost places of the world where you can go. And you're going to see these nice and beautiful penguins. Accommodation in this trip is simple. So most of the time you're going to stay in cozy 3-star hotels. In some places also more hostel style accommodation. And one night you're going to be to camp, so to be able to stay inside the national park. But even though it's simple accommodation, of course, all places you stay have private bathroom, and usually it's twin rooms. And the transportation of in the trip, it's a mixture of private vans during the excursions, and for the longer stretches, like when you go, for example, from Punta Arenas to Ushuaia, which is a longer drive, you also use public buses. So let's start with day one. The first day you're going to arrive to Buenos Aires, where you are going to be picked up at the airport to be taken to your hotel. And then in the afternoon you have a city tour where you're going to see some of the historical Buenos Aires, like some buildings which are famous, which are in the city center, like the main place, the Plaza de Mayo, the governmental buildings. You're going to go to San Telmo, which is kind of an art district, and which is also the center of tango. You know, Argentina is very famous for tango, so that you're going to be able to see like some tango dancers on the street. You're going to visit an outdoor market, and also you're going to do to the graveyard of Buenos Aires, which is very impressive. There you have the grave of Evita. The night will be spent at a hotel which is called Hotel Bristol, which is very conveniently located in the city center of Buenos Aires, next to the main attractions. And just about timing, so when you arrive to Buenos Aires, because it's such a big city, it's approximately 1 hour transfer until your hotel. So then after that, you're going to have some time to rest, and the city tour in the afternoon, it's about 3.5 hours approximately. The next day, after breakfast, you're going to be taken to the airport to fly down to El Calafate. You'll be transferred to your hotel, and after that you have a tour of Perito Morena Glacier, which is the huge glacier you saw at the beginning and the photos. And there you are going to be with the guide who's going to explain you a bit about the national park, how the glacier is formed, and after the tour you have some time to walk around. There's like some nice kind of wooden walkways where you have a good view to the glacier. You can take some pictures. And that night you're going to stay in a hotel which is called Glaciar Pioneros. And you also have box lunch included that day. On the third day, you're going to take the bus to a village called El Chalten. This is already Los Glaciares National Park. So this is where the Fitzroy Mountain is located. So during the drive, you're going to have already some nice views to the Fitzroy Mountain. And then El Chalten, it's a really small, cozy village. In the afternoon, you have some free time. You can either just like stay in the village, walk around a bit, or there are also some trails in the surroundings which you can hike on your own if you want. The night will be spent in a cozy hotel, which is 3-star, and the bus drive from El Calafate to Chalten is 3 hours. But you have to take in mind all distances are very long, so there's always like the distances sometimes are like 3 hours, and then there's one day which has a bit longer drive. And the next day is the big hiking day, because then you're going to hike to a viewpoint where you have an amazing view to the Fitzroy Mountain. This is a pretty long hike, but if anybody wants to opt out, you can take a resting day that day. But if you love hiking, I would really recommend you to join, because it's an amazing hike. And also, I was talking to Lorraine, depending like on the physical ability of the group, we can also modify this hike a bit and offer a shorter hike. But this is one of the highlights of the trip. So it's if you love hiking, you will really enjoy it, and the views are amazing, because you're going to see a hanging glacier, and you're going to see the Fitzroy Mountain. But it's important to know that if you do the full hike, it's 16 miles hiking, so it's pretty long. But as I mentioned, we could eventually modify that. And during the hike, you are going to have a box lunch en route, like a packed lunch. After that is border crossing day. So you take first a bus back to Puerto Natales, and from there another bus which takes you across the border to Puerto Natales, which is this small, lovely village, which is located at a sound which is called Ultima Esperanza Sound. In the evening you have free time, so you can just walk around in the village a bit. It's very nice to walk like at banks of the sound and see the sunset. And that day, the first bus takes 3 hours, and then it takes 5 hours, but it depends a bit, because as you're crossing a border, sometimes the border crossing is quicker, sometimes it's takes a bit longer depending on the other people crossing. And the hotel you stay that night, it's called Hotel Vendeval, which is one of my favorites of this trip, because it's really beautiful, decorated, very cozy. After that, The next day, you're going to head to Torres del Paine National Park, where you have a full day tour to the different highlights inside the park. As I mentioned, there's always the competition between which area of Patagonia is nicer, the Chilean one, the Argentinian one. So like in Argentina, you're going to see like amazing mountains, amazing views of landscape. But in Chile, what you're going to see, what you haven't seen before in Argentina, is a lot of animals. This animal you see is, for example, the guanaco on the picture, which is camelid family. You're going to see a lot of them. And then if you're lucky, also like some other animals, like for example, the nanyu, which is an animal from the ostrich family, or condors, foxes. So there's plenty of wildlife on the Chilean side of Patagonia. And that night, as you're staying inside the national park, you're going to camp. So this day is a bit more adventurous than the other days, but it's really worthwhile because it's so different staying inside the park than just visiting for a day tour. And that day, as you camp, you have both lunch and dinner included. And the next day, in the morning, you're going to do another excursion in Torres del Paine. You are going to walk on a trail which is called the Fauna Trail. So it's wildlife-oriented walk because on that trail it's especially easy to see a lot of wildlife. Obviously, you're going to be with a guide who's going to introduce you into the flora and fauna of Patagonia. And this is just a shorter walk, so it's 6 miles hiking. After that, you are going to be transferred back to Puerto Natales, and after 3 hours approximately, you're going to arrive in Puerto Natales. The next day, day 8, you're going to visit an estancia. From Puerto Natales, which is located at the Sound, you take a boat, navigating approximately half an hour on the Sound. And then you are going to arrive at an estancia, which is called Estancia La Peninsula, because it's located like on the peninsula. And upon arrival there, there are different excursion options you can take. So they offer different activities, and on site you can choose which of them to take. And after that, you're going to try typical Patagonian cuisine because you're going to have a lamb barbecue, which is like the very typical dish in Patagonia. And after lunch, you're going to have a presentation of the sheep shearing and also of the shepherd dogs. And this estancia we chose is very special because they work like in a sustainable manner. They care a lot about animal welfare, conservation, and they're also going to tell you about their project in general because it's a very unique estancia. After you're back from the estancia visit, you take a bus to Punta Arenas, and there you overnight in a hotel which is called Hotel Plaza, which is located in the main plaza of Punta Arenas. The next day, you head to your final destination, Ushuaia, which is also called the city at the end of the world. This is a very long bus drive, 12 hours, but it's pretty scenic, and because you're going to cross the Strait of the Magallanes by bus, and then in the evening you arrive at in Ushuaia, and you're staying you're going to stay in a hotel which is called Hotel Tolkayen, which is nice because it's located just next to the Beagle Channel Beach. Then on day 10, you're going to take a tour which is a mixture between land and sea. So first of all, you take a transfer, but then you continue the trip by navigation. You visit 2 islands, and on one of the islands, you're going to see the famous Magellanic penguins. You're going to do a short hike as well, 8.8 miles that day, and the tour includes lunch that day. And then on day 11, you're going to visit the Tierra del Fuego National Park. It's a half-day tour in the morning, and there you're going to do some short hikes as well to get to know the national park. This again, 2.8 miles hiking. And then on day 12 is unfortunately the departure day. So that day you just have a transfer to the airport, and then you're going to fly out probably over Buenos Aires to connect internationally to your final destination. So that's from my part. I don't know if you have like some questions, something you would like to ask.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
All right, so that big 16-mile hike, you said that was optional, so I could actually, I'm not really a hiker. I could probably, like the 6 mile and the 2.8, those are okay, because I've done that before and I have a lot of time to practice. But the 16-mile one, I would probably want to stay behind, and you said that's possible, right? I could stay at the little town that day?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can.
All right. And then the camping, going the first day of the camping trip, I think you said it was a tour, so that means that's not hiking, right? It's a tour in a van or something?
Yeah, in Torres del Paine, yes, it's a tour in a van, and you're going to drive to different areas of the park to see some waterfalls, some lakes. You're going to visit a glacier lake as well, where you can see from the beach some icebergs floating. Also, again, some wildlife, but it's not hiking.
Yeah.
The only really long hike is the one in El Chaitén, the 16 miles hike.
Yeah, but the second day of the camping, you said there was a 6-mile hike, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, but it's more of a moderate hike. It's not like up a mountain or anything.
Yeah, this one you said the day 7, the fauna trail.
Yeah,
hike.
it says flat track.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's flat. It's moderate.
Okay. And we're going to have a tour guide with us?
Yes, all the time.
whole
For
time?
all excursions, sorry, I didn't mention that. So it's not like a tour guide that starts with you in Buenos Aires and ends, but for all excursions, you always have a tour guide with you.
Yeah.
So it's like local tour guides in each destination, obviously English speaking.
Okay, but to get from one location to the other, we're on our own?
Yes,
Okay.
with Lorraine.
With Lorraine, yes. She's our guide. And she's our leader.
Just like a kind of tour leader, yes.
And considering I've never been to Patagonia, that'll be interesting. But the tour guides, the guides that meet us in each location will get us to the bus or whatever we have to take. And then we just get on and take it together.
Sure.
And then the next one meets us in the next area.
Okay. I have 2 more questions. I don't want to hog up the whole time, but I was wondering what the weather is like at this time of year, and I was wondering about the language. Do you find a lot of English speaking or not?
So the weather, so the main characteristic of Patagonian weather is that it's really, really unstable. So we also say that you can experience like 4 seasons in one day, because you have sunshine
like Iceland.
in the morning. Then probably. I've never been to Iceland, so I can't really tell, but you have because you have a lot of wind, so that's something very characteristic of Patagonia. So when you pack for that trip, you should bring like a lot of layers so that you're prepared like for colder weather, for warmer weather. Temperature wise, I think like the minimum is around 30 degrees Fahrenheit and the maximum 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So the 30 degrees is like at nighttime, and the 60 degrees would be like on a really warm time of the day.
Yeah, so it could be like 30 degrees Fahrenheit camping at night?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you will be provided with good sleeping bags.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
the language.
The language. So, do you mean like in restaurants and this kind of places?
No,
Because the
just like
guides, yeah,
yeah,
because the
transportation, asking for directions to get to the bus or something. But Lorraine, you said there'll be someone that helps us with that, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the guides, they will all be English speaking. And with the local population, it depends. I mean, obviously, if you're staying like in El Chaltén, where there are a lot of tourists coming, restaurants, usually there will be somebody who speaks English. It's not common that like everybody on the street will speak English, but there's always somebody.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Micah, can you tell me on that 16-mile hike, is it mountainous? Is it more level? Is it, just long, or is it actually, more difficult, the hiking part of it?
I think it's a strenuous hike. So because it's not flat all the time, to get up to the viewpoint, you also have to walk upwards a bit. Yeah.
Is it like I went online and I watched YouTube videos of people hiking there, and there were a bunch of them where people were like actually like hiking over boulders, kind of climbing over boulders and stuff to get up.
No,
we're not on that hike, right?
No.
Okay, good. I didn't want that hike. I was like, I can hike, but that looked a little too hard for me. I mean, I've done like the Inca Trail and I hiked the Himalayas this year. I can do it, but I can't, the boulders just look too much for me. But
like rock climbing.
so don't look at those videos because that's not what we're doing. They were a little terrifying.
I think if you've done like the Inca Trail, you'll be fine because you have to consider you're not hiking in altitude. These are not altitude hikes.
Yeah, so that's great. Because the Himalayas too.
Issue with altitude.
Yeah.
If you can't breathe, it makes it a lot harder to hike.
If I stayed behind that day, will I still be able to see Mount Fitzroy from other viewpoints?
Yes, because you're going to see it. You're going to see it from the village, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you get closer, the view is nicer, but you're still going. Just let me go. So,
you never know, Audrey. By then, you might be all ready to do it.
I am practicing.
It's a year, almost a year from now.
I know, that's true.
You never know.
So this is the view from the street.
Oh, okay.
Chatton, so
yeah,
even if you know Patagonia,
yeah. Okay. Somebody has questions on the chat. Do you guys see them?
Oh, I saw one.
Mary has a question on the chat. Would you consider camping in a yurt? That would be fun. And then how long is the hike?
Right. And how much? So I can tell you the pricing, and you can look at all of the details on www.planyourscape.net, just so that if you want to look over the itinerary in writing and you want to actually read all the descriptions, it's there. And the price for this trip is, oh gosh, I had it on my screen. It's $4,390 per person based on double occupancy. And because we're a solo traveler group, what we tend to do is just pair people up with same gender roommates to keep the pricing down. So it's a 12-day trip. And I took a quick look at flights because I figured everybody's going to want to know what the flights will look like. And it looks like there's a flight on Delta for $9.21 that just has one stop in Atlanta, which is nice, but you tend to leave in the evening when you go to Europe and arrive in the morning. There are some that leave in the morning, but they don't arrive till like the next morning because it's a hike to get there. So we'll most likely be leaving and flying overnight.
Yeah. Lorraine, would you want to go in early and to spend a little bit more time in Buenos Aires, or?
We
I don't know.
could. We could. I mean, I definitely want to see the tango dancers. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, sometimes it's nice to get in at least a day early because then
Yeah.
you
Yep.
you get a little bit of rest and deal with your jet lag a bit before you start your trip.
That's kind of what I would want to do, 1 or 2 days and max.
And that's optional. People can do that if they want, and we can make arrangements. And I'll help you
Yeah.
guys with your arrangements and your flights, unless you want to do them on your own, which is fine too. A lot of people have
Yeah.
airline points and miles and all that. So,
Yeah.
um,
I have another question about the food. So we have at the ranch, we're going to have like that barbecue lamb, and that looks
Hmm.
really great. What about food for the other nights and the box lunches? Like, what is the food like?
The box lunches are usually the lunches you have like while you're on excursion. So it's more like a sandwich, a fruit, a cereal bar. Then during most days, dinner is not included. So you would have to go to a local restaurant, and there are usually plenty of options. Like,
Are they, we would just walk to the restaurant from our hotel. It's
yes,
close. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, the places, I mean, Buenos Aires is a big city, but then
Yeah.
the other places are small places, so you won't get lost. Like,
Yeah.
they're rather smaller villages.
I also wanted to make one other comment on pricing. If we get more people, we can drive the price down a bit. So if you really want to go, because it's priced based on 6 people, but let's say we can get up to 10, we can probably take the price down a bit. So,
Mhm.
if you want to go, find somebody to go with you, we can start increasing the numbers and maybe we can get to, cutting down the price somewhat.
Yeah.
And the flight from Ushuaia back, we just fly. Usually, you fly. Do you fly that as an individual flight locally to Buenos Aires and then take a international flight back, Mike, or do you do it like just all in one?
It depends. Depends which airline you use for the international flight. So if you're flying with an airline which has like partnership with one of the local airlines, which is usually like Aerolíneas Argentinas or LATAM. So then you can maybe book from Ushuaia to your final destination. Or for others, depending on where your final destination is, it might be more convenient to book them separately.
And
Mhm.
just so you know, you guys, I did it all the way from I did Boston to Argentina and then Ushuaia back, which it stops in Argentina anyway. But
Oh,
it's
that's
still coming to 921, so it didn't drive the price up dramatically to go from
okay.
Ushuaia all the way back.
Yeah, that's good.
It is a long flight, you're going a long way, so you're going almost to
Mm.
Antarctica. So keep that in mind.
Mm.
It's like going to China or somewhere, it's a long flight. We
Do you
always say,
remember how many hours?
well, the total flight time from Ushuaia all the way back to Boston, it has 2 stops and it's a 27-hour flight.
Mm.
So it's like going to China,
Australia.
Australia, somewhere like that. Yeah. We always think, oh, South America, it's right below us, but it's a really big place and a
It's
long way.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mary, you
I
have,
want to go. I would definitely want to go in early.
yeah, it's shorter on the way there because we're not going all the way to the bottom. So
True.
the way
Yep.
there, wait, I can go back to that and tell you what it is. The way there is a 15-hour flight. So that's how much
From
further down Ushuaia is from Boston to Argentina to Buenos
oh, the
Aires.
total is 15, and it
yeah.
stops. Where does it stop?
That's that flight goes Boston. It stops in I think Miami or somewhere. Oh, it stops in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Hmm.
Any other questions? I see, Mary, you asked about weather, but we answered that, so that's been answered. Bernie, I saw you join. Welcome.
It's in the camping part. Are there bathrooms or what is it? Like, what are the facilities like? Are there any?
Yeah. Yes. There are bathrooms with hot showers.
Oh, okay.
They're like public bath, like a campground bathroom.
Yeah, but it's
campground.
like like a camping bathroom.
Yeah.
It's usually shared by gender, but I mean it's basic facilities because it's camping, but it's not like wild camping.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And we'll have someone, like, what do we do for food that night? Are we cooking by the campfire or?
Yeah, yes. You're going to somebody's going to prepare like they were going to bring the food, so you're going to have like some.
Oh, this sounds like so much fun.
Can you tell us about the 12-hour bus drive? Because that's a long one. Does the bus, I know that's a public bus, right? A coach kind of bus. Yeah. And does it stop all along the way? Or how does it, I mean, they don't just make you sit on there for 12 hours, right?
So you have, it's not exactly that bus, but it's the kind of bus you see on the picture, like on the left-hand side. And you're going to make some short stops, like to go to the bathroom, to buy some food on the trip. So it's not 12 hours in a row. It's not like you're not going to have like a tourist stops, like to go do some sightseeing, no, but like the usual stops that you make when you go on a bus trip.
Okay. And you said the scenery is really beautiful?
It's a mixture because you're going to cross the Magellan Strait, but then and some stretches you have like the Patagonian Pampa. But it's the typical landscape you have over there.
Do you cross the strait on a boat? I thought I saw that somewhere, or did I just assume
It's a ferry. It's a ferry.
A ferry.
Oh, okay.
We'll cross a ferry too. That's fun.
Do we transfer buses at all, or we stay on the same bus?
It's the same bus.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions? Or Audrey, any more from you? I can't think of anything.
I don't have any right now, but I might think of some which I can email to you. I'm going to do some more research and then see if any other questions come up. But the biggest one I had was on the hiking, which we've talked about, and the camping, which we've talked about.
Okay.
And yeah, it looks exciting.
And just so you guys know, we have 3 definite, 4 pretty definite people already signed up. So, you know, we're hoping to get at least 2 more to make the minimum. And then if we get more than that, that'd even be better. So like I said, it'll help us financially too, if we can get more. How much money do you think people will spend there for any other thing? Is the food and stuff expensive in Patagonia, or?
I would say for a dinner, it's between 20-30 US dollar.
Okay. And that's like a sit-down dinner at a nice restaurant.
Yes. Yes, this is at a nice place. If you want something more economic, there are also some more basic places.
And pretty much the only expenses people have besides the tour price is the meals that aren't included. And
yes, exactly, because the entrance fees are included, the excursions are included, so.
The buses are included, the guides included.
Buses are included, breakfast is always included. When you're on excursion, box lunch is included, so it's mostly dinner, and then if you want to bring some souvenirs, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
And tips.
And tips mainly for your guides, for our guides.
Yes.
And you'll give us guidance on how much.
Yes, yeah, I'm going to.
Great. Does anyone else have questions? All right. Well, I hope it was helpful, and I'm going to post the recording so you can watch it again or share it with anybody that you hope to entice to go with you. And I hope we see you guys on the tour.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Micah.
joining, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Can't wait to go. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.